Well, hello friends and followers. It is time once again for another What Did You Buy Wednesday, hosted by my friend Joe over at the Big Sky Model Workshop. Now, as he says it, this is not to show what you've bought every Wednesday. It's more to show what you may have bought today or yesterday or last week or last month or even last year, and to share it with other modelers who might be inspired by something you've purchased, or it jogs an idea in their own mind with something that you've got, and so on. Anyway, I've got a few things to share with you this week. So let me start actually with this one piece that I bought at Hobby Lobby. So if you've watched any of my past videos, you know that I'm kind of a sucker for storage and organization. So I picked up this, I don't know, I guess a rack. I don't remember the exact name that they gave it, but it comes in kit form, and you can see it's all tab and slot construction. And I've got glues and primers and washes and my decal setting solution and epoxy, some masking fluid up there. I'm still figuring out what I'm going to be putting in it, and I also went ahead and kind of rearranged my whole desktop a little bit. Let me move out of the way and I'll let you look at that. So I moved this piece. It was over here. This piece was actually two pieces that were separate on each side of the lamp. I've got stuff over to the left here, almost out of frame, and then to the right you can see my stand for my instructions, and just to the right of it, out of frame, is my laptop. And then I have a smaller cutting mat on this side where this rack is sitting. But my larger cutting mat, I did have the white side up, and it was getting kind of stained and ugly, so I flipped it over. I still had a few stickers from other modelers and other vendors that I put down on top of this side. So right now I'm still kind of working out the ergonomics of everything, but I think this is going to work a little bit better than what I've had here prior. So anyway, aside from that, let me show you what else I purchased recently, and we'll talk about that. You all know what this is, the famed pizza box from VCG Resins by Reese. Yes, I recently placed an order for a few items. So, alright, the 5th gen F-Series grill guard. I don't have an F-Series, well, I do, I guess. I have one of the old F100s, but I didn't really buy it for that necessarily. I think I have some Ford vans, and I might be able to adapt that to a van at some point, or maybe I'll have it for a future F100 build, or F150 maybe, I don't know. Anyway, I saw it, I thought, you know what, I might be able to use that on something, so I went ahead and purchased it. Not a bad price. You know, and you never know when, if you don't buy something that you see, and then you think, well, you know, I might use that. Well, the time comes when you want to use it, and then they don't have it. So, yeah. And then this one, a front push bar grill guard. So again, something I thought I might be able to adapt to something in the future, and you know, I had the extra dollars for it, so threw that in the box. These, I am definitely going to use these, the bow tie exhaust tips. Check that out. So these will probably end up on my Nova wagon, the Chevy Nova wagon that I was going to do as my shop vehicle. So good there. These two things, all right, these are for custom exhaust kits, and these are your clamps and then your crossovers. So one's a X and then one's just a curved side-by-side style. And the way these are used, you use a soldering kind of wire. Let me see if I can find, I know I've got one around here somewhere. Here we go. So something like this, right? And then these would, fit over. All right, that one might be too small for these, but I have a thicker wire, but that's how they're used. You use solder of a specific diameter, and you couple that with these to create your own exhausts. So I'll show you that at some point in the not too distant future. We'll put one together for something. So the C and the X, right? And this, I needed a new distributor for the International, right? Because I used the Ford 460 engine to replicate the International V8. And I saw these and I thought, ooh, let me close this, make it easier. We'll use this as our little tabletop. So, all right, wrong parts, that one. So this makes it easier to wire, I think. The fact that it's separate. So the cap, all those holes go all the way through, right? And then the base of it, once you get your wires in and get them glued in from the inside, then you put the two pieces together and now you've got your full distributor, right? But I really like the idea that this is pre-drilled, but it's open from the backside. I think that's going to make installing plug wires way easier than any other 3D printed style. Now, of course, you can buy the ones that are pre-made, and they look good, but I do think the 3D printed ones are still just that much more detailed than the ones that you can buy that are pre-made. And it looks like I might have a little bit of cleanup to do on this, on the bottom side there. But still, I think that's going to work out really, really good. And then lastly, I needed some new micro drill bits. I have a bad habit of breaking these smallest ones. And I think I've learned my lesson on that. And that is to have a good hand drill. And this one opens up wide enough to get these shanks in, right? And if you watch Kevin Hayes, he's got a video that shows you, about putting any kind of a side load on these real fine ones, because that's when you'll bust it. They are not meant to be moved at an angle at all once they're in whatever it is you're drilling. So that should replace most of the ones I've broken now. All right. I needed paints for the Scout as well. And what I needed was white for the base and then a blue and a red for stripes going down either side. And when I was looking on the website at MCW Finishes, I was a few days away from payday, so I wasn't real sure that I was going to purchase them yet, but I was at least going to look for the colors I wanted and get them put into my cart. And then once payday came around, I could drop that order. So did some searching. I found a white, a red, a blue, put them in the cart. And I thought I had waited, because then I went back probably, I don't know, maybe a week later, and I was like, okay, now let me drop this order. But when I went back to the website, there was nothing in my cart. I was like, well, dang it. So I went back in, found a white, a red, and a blue, and put them in the cart. Well, as soon as I placed the order, I got two different notifications. So the first one, the 2001 white gloss lacquer, which is exactly what I wanted. For an international harvester, I figured that is perfect, because MCW labels this as a fleet white, so that made a lot of sense. I didn't have color codes, specific color codes. I was just trying to find something really close. And then there was a red, this bright red gloss lacquer. And you know, on the website, sometimes it's hard to tell exactly what color it is, you know, what shade, but I thought that looked pretty good. So that was put in the cart. And then I needed a blue. And again, on the internet, sometimes the color swatches don't appear exactly as they do in real life. Well, I put in the Maxi Blue Maxi Blue Gloss Lacquer, 7385. Well, this is lighter than what I was really looking for. In fact, it's a very close match to this cutting mat, just a shade lighter, I think. But it wasn't exactly what I wanted. And yeah, so apparently I did order my first go around, and I guess I just forgot that I even placed the order. But what was really weird was I didn't get any notification that an order was, you know, pending, or that it was shipping, or any of that. So, you know, a week goes by or so, and I decide, okay, let me get those paints that I was looking at, and the basket was empty, so I had to go through and find my paints. So I got my 2001 white gloss lacquer, exactly what I wanted, and then I needed a red, but I couldn't remember what red I had looked at before because the cart was empty. So I looked around, and I found 2153 red gloss lacquer. And that's a lot darker, but it's actually it more closely looks like what I was looking for, or what I thought I was looking for. So in comparison, see, it's a much deeper red. So I really do think this one's the one I really wanted anyway. And then I needed blue, and I couldn't remember what blue I had ordered. So I placed another order. And what I ended up with was 2072 Tahiti Blue Gloss Lacquer. And it's clearly a darker blue, but it is also clearly exactly what I was looking for. So that blue, that red, and that white, that is exactly the red, white, and blue that I was looking for to replicate my dad's 76 Scout 2. And they're all lacquer, which I prefer. I've tried a few of the enamels from MCW, and there's nothing wrong with them. It's more me than the product. But you know, when you get the enamels, you have to mix the enamel paint color with the enamel hardener, and then whatever thinner you're using with those. And I found that the hardener, I can rarely get the bottle open. They're just like sealed shut. I've had to use some strap wrenches to try to get them open before, and I got one of the two bottles I have open. Now I am getting arthritis, and that doesn't help, but so the lacquers work just fine for me. They don't have a high gloss, but you can, you know, spray a gloss over them later. But really, for the era of this vehicle, they weren't a high gloss anyway. So these are going to be perfect. They spray right out of the bottle just fine. Never had any issue. So I recommend the lacquers just for their ease of use. You know, like I said, nothing wrong with the enamels. They just don't work as well for me. So now I have plenty of paint, more than enough. So 4 bottles of the exact same white, and then 2 different reds and blues. Okay, so that's going to wrap it up for this week's What Did You Buy Wednesday. And as you can see, I am working on the Scout right now. doing a little bit here and there. I only get a few hours every evening after work, and hopefully weekends get anywhere from 8 to 10 hours total for Saturday and Sunday. And if you're not aware, I am now a regular on the Sunday afternoon build session with Mikey, Outlaw Scale Model Works, and Jason over at Blue Ox Model Shop. And occasionally we also have, I believe Jody is on there, Jody Doyle, and Justin Ryan, and maybe some others. Oh, how did I forget? BG. I can't forget BG. Sorry, BG. Anyway, if you get the opportunity, check us out on Sunday afternoons on YouTube live from 4 to 6 Eastern time. I'm Central time, so it's 3 to 5 Central time. Hang out with us in the chat. That's kind of what we do during that period, is we'll work on our own models and chit chat amongst each other and back and forth with those that are in the chat watching us live. So if you get the opportunity, please check in. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, why not? Give it a big old thumbs up. And until the next week, peace and love.